poor man and Lazarus in heaven. And it says, Abraham said, "Son, remember that you in your lifetime received your good things, Lazarus in like manner evil things, but now here he is comforted, and you art in anguish. And besides all this, between us and you there is a great gulf fixed, that they that would pass from here to you may not be able, and that none may cross over from there to us." A great gulf fixed. You know, it's nice to sing about the faithfulness of God and about blessed assurance, but that's something you don't hear very much sometimes in many churches. David Jeremiah, in his book, What to Do When You Don't Know What to Do, it reads the story of a cartoon that's in a modern magazine. The cartoon is of a conventional church with a large sign out front which says, "The Light Church." The Light Church. 20% fewer commitments. The church with a 7.5% tithe. 15-minute sermons. 45-minute worship services. 8 commandments, you choose. And 3 spiritual laws. Unfortunately, we laugh, but it's actually true in many cases. This is what has happened to many churches. Not only has the church sort of become light, there have been so many changes in the gospel that some churches even confuse everyone because of their practices. And for instance, we all practice Christmas as the birth of Christ. We may commemorate the birth of Christ then, but it's not really the time. And Easter isn't the time when Christ was crucified. I mean, he can't be crucified on a different day every year. Easter is actually a pagan holiday of Astarte, the goddess of fertility. So we commemorate Christ's crucifixion on that day, but we don't say it that way. No wonder so many people don't believe that God is faithful, or that it's our story anymore, or it's not what we want to praise or think about. There are so many people who don't believe anymore. Or if they do, they believe only with their head and don't have the faith to back it up. And as I mentioned last week, there's a big difference between belief and faith. One way to describe this is to illustrate a story. There was a man in 1860 named Charles Blondin. He was a tightrope walker. And he was the first one to spread a line across Niagara Falls from one side to the other and did a tightrope walk across it, 1,100 feet above the falls. He did it many times. He did it with a balance bar and without a balance bar. He did it one time blindfolded. He did it one time in stilts. This is walking across a tightrope across Niagara Falls. And he did it one time pushing a wheelbarrow, empty, and then again with some material in it. Once he even stopped midway across the walk, cooked an omelet on a small stove he had and ate it while sitting on the tightrope over the Niagara Falls. This was seen by thousands of people. So when he came to the shore one time, he took to people and said, "Do you believe I can do this?" And of course, they had seen him do it, so they all said yes. So he pointed to people and said, "Will you get in the wheelbarrow while I push you across?" There were few, if any, takers. See, we have a mind belief, but we don't have the faith sometimes to go with it. The question is, we believe in the cross, in the crucifixion. Do we have the faith to back it up? Do we have the faith to really believe what we say? We can sing and dance and praise and That's all good. But the basic point is, do you believe? Because, you see, there is a gulf between God and us. And we have tried many, many ways to bridge that gulf from our side. Different religions, different denominations, different practices. Never works. Because the other side is closed. No man can go across it. However, God has built the bridge to us. He has built the tightrope. He has built the cross so that anyone who wants to, who has the faith to believe in the cross, can cross that gulf. But many people still believe this is just a myth. It's a delusion. Muslims think that Jesus just swooned or fainted on the cross, and this is what they say. But there's actually more evidence for the death and resurrection of Christ than there is for any other event in ancient history. But people still say it's a delusion. E.Y. Mullins wrote this about a drunkard who was confronted by people saying that his faith was a delusion. He wrote this: like a redeemed drunkard with vivid memory of past hopeless struggles and new sense of power throughout Christ, was replying to the charge that his religion was a delusion. He said, "Thank God for the delusion. It has put clothes on my children and shoes on their feet and bread in their mouths. It has made a man of me, and it has put joy and peace in my home, which had been hell. If this is a delusion, may God send it to the slaves of drink everywhere, for their slavery is an awful reality." The cross of Christ is the only way to bridge the gulf. Jesus said, "I am the way, the only way." Do you have the faith to accept it, to get in the wheelbarrow, to go across that chasm? This is the time of Easter coming up. The time when the cross is prominent, and it is something this time of the year we all should think about.